Open your eyes right now. It's morning. You've got a coffee maker, a shower, a phone full of notifications, a job to get to, a calendar packed with things somebody else scheduled for you, and maybe if you're lucky, 20 minutes to sit quietly before the whole thing starts again. Now imagine none of that exists. Just you. A fire that needs to be kept alive. A group of people who depend on you. And an entire day stretching out in front of you with no instructions. Most people assume ancient humans spent every waking hour desperately trying not to die. The average hunter-gatherer worked between 3 and 5 hours a day. Then they stopped. Not because they were lazy, because they were done. And then for the rest of the day they did something nobody ever talks about. They lived. They didn't wake up to an alarm. They woke up with the sun. Your cortisol naturally spikes just before dawn. Your body temperature starts rising. The first thing that happened after waking wasn't coffee or scrolling. It was fire. Fire was everything. Warmth, protection, the ability to cook, the center of social life. Once the fire was going, people ate whatever was left from the night before. And then people talked. For 300,000 years, this was how the human day began. Not with urgency, not with anxiety, with fire, food, and other people. For men, the primary work was hunting, but hunting didn't happen every day. Maybe 2 or 3 times a week. A major hunt required planning the night before, reading animal tracks, working as a coordinated team, often covering enormous distances, sometimes 20 miles or more in a single day. The hunt itself averaged about 4 to 6 hours, not 12, not 18, 4 to 6. For women, the primary work was gathering, and gathering was not the mindless activity people imagine. It required deep knowledge, which plants were edible and which were poisonous. The Hadza of Tanzania, one of the most studied hunter-gatherer groups alive today. Women typically gathered for 3 to 4 hours in the morning, then they were done. Both the hunters and the gatherers back in camp. The work finished, the sun still high in the sky, done by early afternoon. So what happened after the work was done? This is the question nobody asks. The afternoon was free, not free in the anxious modern sense. Actually free, structurally free. They made things. Tool making was not just survival activity, it was craft. The best tool makers were respected members of the group. Stone, bone, wood, plant fibers. Everything around them was raw material for something useful or beautiful. Ochre. The red pigment found in caves across Africa dating back 300,000 years tells us that ancient humans were decorating things. Art was not invented by modern humans. Art was there from the very beginning. They played games, physical play, wrestling, running, throwing competitions. In virtually every hunter-gatherer group ever studied, play is a significant part of adult daily life. They rested. Real rest. Not Netflix rest or scroll rest, actual physical rest. The human body has a natural dip in alertness in the early afternoon. The most important thing they did in the afternoon was something so simple it barely seems worth mentioning. They talked to each other. Robin Dunbar argues that language itself evolved primarily to replace physical grooming. Grooming can only happen one-on-one. Language let humans groom socially, maintaining bonds with multiple people simultaneously, who could be trusted, who had skills, who might help in a crisis. The conversation was the social infrastructure, and it ran every single day. Then came the evening. Fire extended the day. Before fire, the useful day ended at sunset. Moving in the dark meant becoming food. A campfire creates a circle of light and safety, roughly 30 feet in diameter. Inside that circle, predators don't come. 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours of usable time after the sun went down. Polly Wiesner spent years recording conversations among the Yuhuanzi Bushmen of the Kalahari. During the day, 80% of conversations were practical. At night, around the fire, 81% of conversations were stories, tales of people in distant places, adventures, moral lessons wrapped in narrative. The campfire was the original theater, the original classroom, the original place of worship. It was where humans processed the day, transmitted knowledge to the next generation. Every story ever told, every religion ever founded, every moral code ever developed, all of it traces back to people sitting around a fire in the dark, talking. Before artificial light, people didn't sleep in one continuous block. Roger E. Kirch spent 16 years going through historical records and found something nobody expected. They slept for about 4 hours, then woke up, stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night. People prayed during this time, visited neighbors, simply lay in the dark and thought. In 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Weir removed all artificial light from a group of volunteers for a month. Within weeks, every single participant settled into the same pattern. Nobody told them to do this. Their bodies just did it. Weir measured hormone levels during this period. Elevated prolactin, the same hormone released during meditation. A state of quiet, reflective consciousness unlike any normal waking state. A state most modern humans have never experienced. So let's go back to the question. What did ancient humans actually do all day? They woke with the sun and sat by the fire, eating with the people they loved. They worked seriously, skillfully, with real physical effort for 3 to 5 hours. They did real things that produced real results that kept real people alive. Then they stopped. They spent the afternoon in the company of other humans making things, playing, resting, talking, not scrolling through the lives of strangers. They sat with each other. They knew each other completely. They were known. Then the sun went down and the fire went up. For 2 or 3 hours in the darkness, they told each other stories about who they were, about where they came from, about what it all meant. And then they slept in 2 phases with a quiet space in between, a space of pure reflective collective consciousness that the modern world has almost completely eliminated. They did all of this every single day for 300,000 years. You might look at that life and call it simple. You might call it hard. You might call it boring. Every piece of research into well-being, meaning, connection, and what makes a human life feel worth living points back to the same four things. Ancient humans didn't optimize for those things. They just lived, and somehow in building the most advanced civilization in the history of the planet, we forgot to include them. The ancient day was not perfect. It was hard and dangerous and short and uncertain, but it got the fundamental things right, the things the human nervous system was built to need. The same brain, the same nervous system, two completely different days, the same amount of essential work done in half the time, the same hours in the afternoon filled with completely different things, the same darkness used in completely different ways, the same body but sleeping in a completely different way. The hardware didn't change, the world changed around it, and your body is still running the program that ancient life was built to run. Every day your body expects inputs it was designed for, and gets different ones instead. That mismatch has a cost. The ancient humans didn't have a manual, but they had something. We've lost a life that matched the hardware. Children didn't go to school. They followed adults and learned by watching and doing. Every skill was transmitted through direct participation. You learned to hunt by hunting, to gather by gathering. The average hunter-gatherer carried more practical knowledge in their head than most people alive today. They knew the name, use, preparation, method, and seasonal availability of hundreds of plants. They could track animals by reading the ground the way you read a text message. They could read weather from clouds and wind patterns 3 days in advance. They navigated by stars with precision that would impress modern sailors. Different knowledge, not less knowledge, and they knew every person in their group completely, deeply, across a lifetime. When conflicts arose, and they did, the community resolved them through conversation and social pressure. Most hunter-gatherer societies were remarkably egalitarian. No permanent chiefs, no kings, no bosses. Leadership was situational. The best hunter led the hunt. The best healer led the healing. Successful hunters shared their catch with the entire group. Accumulation was socially discouraged. What you gave came back. The social system ran on reciprocity. The elderly were not abandoned. Their knowledge was irreplaceable. They were cared for by the group. Anthropologists call it the grandmother hypothesis. Older women caring for grandchildren while parents worked, increasing survival rates for the whole group. Death was processed communally. Grief was shared. No one faced it alone. Birth brought the whole community together. A new life was a community event. Illness was treated by the community healer using plant medicines accumulated over thousands of years of empirical observation. Several times a year, the camp moved, following seasonal food sources. The whole group together. Nobody moved alone. Nobody was left behind. Occasionally, groups encountered other groups. These were opportunities for trade, marriage partners, and information exchange. Marriage often connected two groups, creating alliances that provided security across a wider territory. Ceremonies marked important transitions, coming of age, seasonal changes, successful hunts. They made music. They danced. Evidence of musical instruments goes back at least 60,000 years. They laughed. Humor is found in every human society ever studied. It's as ancient as language. They had spiritual practices, beliefs about the world that made sense of suffering and death and meaning. They buried their dead with care, with objects, with ochre, evidence that they believed in something beyond this life. They decorated themselves. Shell beads worn as jewelry have been found dating back 130,000 years. They were fully human as you, living full lives with love and loss and meaning and joy. The danger was real. Let's not romanticize it. Infant mortality was devastating. Many children didn't survive their first years. Average lifespan was dramatically shorter, not because daily life was miserable, but because infection, injury, and childbirth killed without modern medicine to intervene. Drought meant starvation. A bad hunting season meant desperate weeks of short rations. Injury without modern medicine could be a death sentence. A broken leg could end everything. Violence between groups happened. Resources were competed for. Territory mattered. Childbirth killed women at rates we can barely imagine today. The life was hard, and it was rich with the things that make life feel worth living. Nobody is suggesting we go back, but understanding what ancient humans actually did all day tells us something we urgently need to hear. The human nervous system was designed to operate inside certain conditions, and those conditions are largely absent from modern life. The result shows up as anxiety and depression and loneliness and sleep disorders and chronic stress, not necessarily disorders. Mismatches. The body is working exactly as designed. The world it's running in is wrong. You can't rebuild the ancient world, but you can give your nervous system what it was built for. Work that produces something visible, something real. Rest that is actually rest, not rest that looks like rest while still consuming content. Connection with people who can actually see you. Physical presence, shared experience, stories told face to face, not consumed alone on a screen. And darkness, actual darkness, the kind your body was designed to sleep in. These four things have remained constant across all of human history. Your body already knows this. It's been trying to tell you. The afternoon energy crash, the loneliness ache, the restlessness that won't let let you sit still. Those aren't malfunctions. Those are messages from 300,000 years of evolution telling you what you were built for. The answer to what ancient humans did all day is the answer to what you're missing right now. What did ancient humans actually do all day? They lived a life their nervous systems were built for, and we know exactly what that looked like. The real question is, does yours? Does your morning start with presence or with panic? Does your work produce something real? Does it end? Does your afternoon contain any actual rest? Any actual play? Does your evening contain stories told to people who matter, or just content consumed alone? Does your sleep happen in darkness? Does your body get the rest it's designed for? For most people reading this, the honest answer is not good, and that's not your fault. Modern life was not designed around what the human nervous system needs. It was designed around economic productivity, around consumption, around efficiency, not around the four things that make a human life actually work. But within that system, you have choices. You can choose a morning that starts with presence instead of panic. You can choose work that produces something you can see. You can choose to actually rest in the afternoon without guilt. You can choose to be with people physically, presently, without a screen between you. You can choose to tell stories instead of just consume them. You can choose darkness and let your body remember what it was built to do in the dark. These choices compound. Small shifts in the right direction add up. The ancient humans didn't have science to tell them what they needed. We do, and the science says what ancient humans practiced worked. Strong social bonds predict longer life. Physical activity predicts mental health. Purposeful work predicts meaning. Real rest predicts cognitive function. We didn't need science to tell us. Our ancestors already knew. It was built into how they lived. Their daily life was the answer, encoded in fire, food, work, craft, play, story, and sleep. We are the anomaly. They were the norm. 300,000 years of evidence about what the human body was designed to do. The evidence is clear. The design is clear. What we were built for is clear. The question is what we're going to do with that information. Knowing it is not enough. The modern world will keep pulling you toward its design. It takes active daily choice to live against the current, but the payoff is every bit of well-being research ever published. Ancient humans didn't know they were showing us something. They were just living. Tomorrow morning when the alarm goes off, before you reach for the phone, take 1 second and ask yourself what your ancestors would have done. They would have started with warmth, with food, with people. So can you. What did ancient humans actually do all day? They lived a life their nervous systems were built for. The same nervous system you're running right now, with the same needs, the same design, the same requirements. The question is not what they did all day. The question is what you're going to do with yours. Your morning fire doesn't have to be a fire. It can be 10 minutes of quiet before the phone comes on. Your tribe doesn't have to be a hunting band. It can be 3 people who actually show up. Your meaningful work doesn't have to be hunting. It can be anything that produces something real with your hands. Your campfire doesn't have to be fire. It can be a table with people who tell each other real stories. Your darkness doesn't have to be the African savannah. It can be your bedroom with the phone in another room. The ancient design is still available. Your nervous system will still respond to it, guaranteed, by 300,000 years of evidence. If the ancient humans could look at your life, what would they recognize? The food, the shelter, the technology far beyond anything they could imagine. But eating alone, that would confuse them. Working until dark and beyond, that would confuse them. A life without a fire to gather around, that would confuse them most of all. Watching stories alone on a screen instead of telling stories together, they would not understand. We built everything except the campfire. So light it. Gather your people. Tell your stories. Do real work. And stop when it's done. Actually rest and sleep in the dark. Your body will respond. It was built for this. It remembers. Buried under all the notifications and deadlines and artificial light, it still remembers. 300,000 years of memory in every cell of your body. Your ancestors lived it. Every single one of them. All the way back. You can too. Not their life, their design, fire, food, purposeful work, real people, genuine rest, stories that matter. 6 things. None of them complicated. All of them available. The most advanced species on Earth. Still needing the same 6 things it needed 300,000 years ago. Because out there 300,000 years ago, that was enough. It was more than enough. The question ancient humans never had to ask because their life answered it for them is the one we're all trying to answer now. Is what you're doing all day enough? For 300,000 years, the answer was yes. Not because life was easy. Because the design was right. Today, for millions of people, the honest answer is not yes. What did ancient humans actually do all day? They woke with the sun, tended the fire, ate with their people, worked with their hands for a few hours, rested in the afternoon, talked and played and made things, gathered around the fire at night, told each other stories, and slept in the dark every single day for 300,000 years. We can't copy their life, but we can understand its design, warmth, nourishment shared with others, purposeful work with visible results, genuine rest, real face-to-face connection, and stories that answer the question of what this all means. These aren't ancient things. These are human things. They always were. They always will be. The modern world forgot. In 150 years of industrialization, it forgot what 300,000 years had figured out. We can remember. We know what they did all day. We know why it worked. The choice is available. Starting tomorrow morning, before you reach for the phone, sit with the morning for 5 minutes. Just the warmth, just the light. Eat with someone, even one person. Do real work. Stop when you're done. Rest without guilt. Tell someone a real story tonight, not via text, to their face, and sleep in the dark. That's a day that works for the nervous system you have. Not because it's ancient, because it's designed for you. It was always designed for you. It's been designed for you for 300,000 years. You are the heir to 300,000 years of people who got this right. Every single one of your ancestors figured out how to live a human day. The knowledge is in you, in your biology, in every cell of your body. Let your body teach you what ancient humans already knew. When your body is restless, it wants to move. When it aches with loneliness, it wants real presence. presence. When it crashes in the afternoon, it wants to rest. When it hungers for meaning, it wants stories. Trust the body. It's been right about this for 300,000 years. The morning fire that started every human day for 300,000 years. It's still available if you choose it. The campfire story that built human culture over hundreds of thousands of years. Still available. If you gather the people and start the story, what did ancient humans actually do all day? They lived exactly the life their nervous systems were built for, and in doing so, they showed us how to live ours. The design is still available. Your nervous system will still respond. Which part of the ancient day do you think you're most missing? Tell me in the comments. That's where we keep the campfire going. See you around the fire. If you learned something new today, subscribe for more.